Hello, St. Albans. I was supposed to deliver this speech tomorrow at the Black Lives Matter rally in St. Albans, tomorrow the 12th of June. But fortunately, sadly for me, but fortunately they have too many speakers. So I thought I'd record it anyway. So, we may be many miles away from Minneapolis, but we're not many miles away from the issue. How we, black people, are valued in society. This is a long overdue conversation, a conversation that we do need to have, a conversation about showing support for black people, which is the reason I'm guessing you are at the rally tomorrow. But it's also about examining your assumptions about black people, and in particular, challenging the assumptions of the people who can make the biggest difference, and there's so many of those kinds of people live in and around St. Albans. First of all, look at unemployment, or rather underemployment of black people. Putting it simply, you just don't employ us. Look around your companies, education centres, offices, especially in the private sector. We have underemployed graduates, we have trained people, we have trainee and apprenticeship material people applying, but you don't even look at their CVs. They end up in low-paid, unskilled jobs and then stay economically disadvantaged. I am not suggesting affirmative recruitment. It's about equal opportunities and questioning your assumptions. Look too at the recruitment agencies that you use. Why don't you question the CVs sent from these agencies? Is it really credible that only a certain type of person applies through them? The public sector does not get away with it either. We don't all want to work for the public sector. Yes, of course, some do. Others work there because you at least employ us. However, we don't progress fast and are very often overlooked for promotion. But we do stay put year in, year out because of the job security. A few years ago, when the European Union expanded and allowed in 10 extra countries, black people lost out. Front of house jobs in hotels and gyms and other places like that replaced us with a more acceptable face of their companies. Black people struggle hard enough to get jobs. This was a further blow to us. And this is no resentment to the newcomers, but being easily replaced really underlined our value to the society and to the workforce. Assumptions made about us are, we're not able to do the jobs. We do not fit into the company culture. We are aggressive, where others are seen as assertive. We are not honest. We are lazy. In a nutshell, we are black. Assumptions that affect our dignity and our sense of worth. Assumptions too about education must change. In St. Albans, how many black boys take A-levels in our state schools? The boys are there. They are there in vast numbers. They're clearly visible up to GCSE level. So it can't be possible that very few boys in this group are consistently not represented at the advanced level stage in state schools. If people in authority steer you and those like you in a certain direction, you're bound to believe that they, the experts, know what they're talking about. Why are educators giving up on our boys? Why, and so early? Too many are steered to C-grade exam papers. That's maximum they can ever get a C grade. Assumptions appear to have been made that black boys are not capable of achieving higher. Teach them, push them, show them you believe in them, and mean it. This is their future too. You are directing them in the wrong direction. Their classmates, future employers, are unconsciously getting the wrong idea too, the wrong message. Another assumption is that black boys need role models. No. Role models are celebrities, they're musicians, they're footballers, they're politicians. No one is asking white people to be role models for the young white boys in their communities. No, all our children black or white, need to see is that there are jobs out there that they can aspire to. It's as simple as that. Black children don't see black people in these roles because, as I said earlier, they aren't employed. They see themselves as unemployable. And they're also made to feel that academically they aren't able to anyway. There's also assumptions of capability. And a personal example here. A few years ago, while working in a post-college but education environment for young adults with learning disabilities, at the end of the day, the parents and carers would very often just overlook me for their daily feedback, even if it was clear that I had been the delegated person for their son or daughter that day. I was overqualified, but I enjoyed the job, and I felt my pride and dignity being eroded on a weekly basis. So I quit. And then there's visibility. In April this year, a local paper ran a front page to thank key workers for all their hard work and sacrifice. I don't know if any of you saw the paper, but there were 16 faces splashed across the front page, and not a single one of them was a black face. Now, we all know that in the M25 area, a significant percentage of hospital staff at all levels is made up of black people. And sadly too, a significant percentage of these have died of COVID-19. But no recognition was given to them, nor to their families. Do black lives really matter? I wonder sometimes. The editor's response was not satisfactory. He didn't seem to recognize the significance. He excused himself on the grounds of the photographs were sent in by people. Well, of course black people are not going to send in photographs. They don't feel valued, why bother? So the paper, in this case, should have gone and looked for their photographs, or found a way to mention their contribution. A few more quick examples of assumptions. Postcode assumptions. Encounters with staff who hadn't met me when I was caring for my disabled son in hospital through the years. My son was mixed race, and I mentioned this because he was very, very light-skinned and had very straight hair, so it wasn't obvious that I was his mother. In both Hemel Hempstead and in Watford hospitals, the assumption, I wasn't even asked, the assumption was that I was his carer. But at the John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford, where he was also a regular patient, no assumptions. I was actually asked if I was part of the medical team. This was on several occasions in all three hospitals. And then there's profiling. My two other sons were often frisked for weed at festivals. Fair enough, you might say, because that's what festivals are trying to stamp out. But in a group of white boys, the others never seemed to be frisked. And my boys, they realized this, and they got to a point where they just expected to be frisked at festivals. The same thing happens in clubs. Even recently, just before the lockdown, my son was in a club in his university town. Not St. Albans, I must say, a long way away from here. And 3 times in one evening, he was frisked. And not one boy in his group, I think the group of 5, was even questioned, but he was picked on 3 times. I won't even talk about policing because other people are talking about policing at the rally tomorrow, and also I think we've heard a lot about that on television. But I'll talk about parenting, and I'll just give a few examples of what I find sad when it comes to mothers like me who are parenting black boys. And my son said to me he's heard about it from lots of other boys at his university. Part of our parenting involves giving tips on how to be a black boy. And that means when you go shopping, don't have your hands in your pocket because they'll assume you're shoplifting. Don't touch what you aren't going to buy. Again, they'll assume you're shoplifting. If a policeman stops you in town or in a park or in a pub, anywhere, don't answer back because all they're going to say is you're aggressive, lock you in a cell overnight to cool down. It's very sad that is actually part of the parenting of a black mother. If you really believe Black Lives Matter, then the change will have to start with those of you who can make a difference. The professionals, the educators, the hirers, the policymakers, the friends. The change has to start with you. I hope I have explained how the lack of action and assumptions have contributed to inequality hurt and how we are perceived society values us. Thank you very much.